Hi, this is Attorney Elijah Keys. I am here to talk to you today about special needs trusts. So, a special needs trust is a tool to protect a disabled person and guarantee benefits in the future. So, oftentimes, when someone is disabled, we might think that they probably can't work for themselves, right? They can't work to support themselves, and we might need some programs from the government to help support them. One of them is called Supplemental Security Income from the Social Security Administration, and another one is called Medicaid in California. That's called Medi-Cal. The SSI and in most states, Medicaid have severe limitations with what someone can have or own in their own name. Someone can own an unlimited amount of what's called exempt assets. That includes like a home and a car and a small life insurance policy, a burial plot, and personal property. Most other things are called non-exempt, which means that they can disqualify. And the SSI has pretty severe limits with what you can own and still receive benefits. SSI allows you to have about $2,000 of non-exempt assets at any time. And Medicaid in some states, each state is different, but in some states require the same thing, $2,000 of non-exempt assets. California has a higher limit now in 2024. I'm sorry, in 2023. In 2024, it will change. But if someone has more than $2,000 of non-exempt assets, then they will lose their SSI benefits. And SSI is very needed by a lot of people. It's intended to provide food and housing for people who cannot work and have never really been able to work for a long period of time. Maximum benefit from the federal government is somewhere around $1,000 a month right now, and it's needed by a lot of people. But if someone inherits or receives a bunch of money from some source, either an inheritance or from an insurance policy or something, then the disabled person might lose their benefits, and that's really detrimental. And so, a special needs trust is a special tool designed and implemented using specific rules from the Social Security Administration. Those rules specifically say that the trust has to have a couple of limitations. It must be irrevocable, or it cannot easily be canceled, terminated, or changed. The beneficiary cannot be the trustee and cannot force the trustee to take any actions that the beneficiary wants. And the trustee, the person who controls the trust assets, is able to use the money for the beneficiary, but cannot replace, supplement, or reduce any benefits that a government agency is required to pay, such as Medicaid or SSI. And if, in fact, the trust is set up in that way, then money that is in that trust is not counted as owned by the beneficiary. So the beneficiary, the disabled person, could have $1 million in the special needs trust. And that money can be used to supplement or improve the quality of life of the disabled person without disqualifying them from needed benefits. Some people might say, well, why would you need those benefits if you have $1 million in a trust? And the answer is, well, you might not. But it might be better to have a safety net, an emergency safety net of money that can be used for things that public benefits don't pay for. So one thing that public benefits don't pay for is some states don't pay for dental care. So Medicaid in some states don't cover dental. So what do? Well, the money in the special needs trust can be used to pay for dental. Another example would be if Medicaid doesn't cover a prescription drug, right? If it doesn't cover a new drug that might actually be helpful, then the special needs trust can pay for that. Special needs trust can also pay for a car, can pay for car insurance. In some situations, in some circumstances, could even pay basic expenses like a cell phone bill, but there are limitations. So it's really important to know whether you need a special needs trust. And so our firm does special needs trusts all the time. We certainly recommend that if you're going to consider doing a special needs trust or creating one for a family member or a loved one, that you talk to a specialist. Talk to someone who really does them all the time, because there are a lot of ins and outs of those trusts that you need to take care of. Thank you very much for joining us today to talk about special needs trusts. I am Elijah Keys, certified specialist estate planner and special needs planner. Our firm is in Milpitas, California. Like and subscribe for more content, and go ahead and in the comments let us know what other topics you'd like us to cover, and we'll do those along the way. Thanks so much. Bye bye.